Welcome to Wodmas Day 16. Coach Andrew here from Baktothelab Nutrition and Performance. What is Wodmas? 25 days of fitness up until Christmas. And today I'm going to be talking about what you should be doing to achieve your health and fitness goals in 2025 and have that dream body, that composition, right? Lean muscle, drop the body fat, feel strong in the gym, fitter in the gym, and just overall a ton of more confidence in your own skin versus feeling like a ghost in your body. So it's going to be a brief video, straight to the point, no fluff, exactly what I would do if I was you and I wanted to basically go through 2025 and become that fitter, healthier, sexier, more confident person for next year. Okay. So what I would, number one, suggest is phasing things out. Not trying to want to do everything all at once, because that could get really, really overwhelming. And that's not the approach I take for myself or the approach I take for my clients. It's a slow, long grind. And once you can understand that and get away from the mindset of, oh, I need to do everything right now, so in a month I'm looking and feeling really good. Don't do that, because you'll fall into your old habits once you stop doing what you're doing. So if you do a quick fix diet, 30 days in, you get a result, but then you stop and go into your old habits, you're going to fall apart and fall back into your old ways, leading to the weight gain again, the not so feeling so hot, et cetera, et cetera. So for the start of 2025, right? Like if you could start right now, this would be even better. We're December 16th. So something you could start doing as soon as this week. The first 3 months of the year, at least, the first 3 or 4 months of the year, I would focus on building, okay? So not trying to lose a ton of weight, not trying to restrict your food or anything like that. I would focus on building, okay? What that means is building more muscle, right? Building strength in the gym, building your body in that regard, as well as with that, building up your metabolism. Because if you're somebody who's a chronic fat dieter, your metabolism probably sucks. You've likely over time messed it up from going on and off, on and off, on and off this cycle of dieting. So we need to build up your metabolism so that when you do want to focus on fat loss, your body responds really well. You lose the body fat with relative ease, compared to the struggle that you might be facing right now. So that would be number one. So the first month 1 through 4 is eating enough. And what that's going to look like is like eating your maintenance calories, specifically with your proper macros, so protein, carbs, and fat, having the numbers set for you and actively achieving that. Whether that means tracking with just your calories, right? So I would say if you'd never tracked anything, I would say start tracking with your calories and your protein and worry about carbs and fat later. Don't worry about those so much, but eat enough, right? So eat your maintenance calories, or even in a slight surplus of maybe 10% of your maintenance calories. So what that means is if your maintenance calories are around 2,200 a day, eat 10% more of that, so that you're in a slight surplus. And we're really actively focusing on building muscle here, because in this build phase for the first 1 to 4 months, while you're increasing your food and eating enough, you are training hard. You're training, right, 3 to 5 times a week. When I say training, specifically resistance training, right? Focusing on progressive overload, increasing the weights over time, increasing the reps over time, increasing the sets, the tempo, all these different things that you can do to mess with the progressive overload. But the point is, you are training hard, right? And eating in a surplus or eating your maintenance calories. Okay, combine those two, and I promise you, you're gonna put on muscle and your body will respond well. You might even drop some body fat because if you're tracking your food, you're changing the makeup of your composition in terms of food, which is gonna therefore change your body composition, even if you are eating at maintenance or in a slight surplus here. I've seen it before, people's bodies really responding well to that kind of reverse diet where they're eating more, but they're training hard, and they end up seeing their bodies kind of drop body fat and put on muscle during this time, despite being in that surplus and not focusing on weight loss at the moment. So that'd be phase one, this build phase. So months 1 through 4, right? So you're at the end of April there, okay? And that's what I do with my clients. We focus on a build phase first, unless there's somebody who's really needs to lose weight, lose 50 pounds, maybe we focus on a cut first and then a build. But after that build phase, I would say months 5 through 6 is you focus on fat loss, or what I would call the accelerate phase, where you're accelerating your fat loss here. You're eating in a deficit, something like 15 to 20% in a deficit from your maintenance calories. Okay? So minus 15 to 20% from maintenance. And you're doing this for, I would say, 8 weeks. If you have a bigger fat loss goal, maybe you do 12 weeks, but no more than that, because then you're really putting your body under a lot of stress and things start to get kind of out of whack. So for months 5, 6, that's 8 weeks, maybe 7, you are focusing on a fat loss phase. In your fat loss phase, you're eating 15 to 20% in that deficit from your maintenance calories. What you could do as well to help your metabolism along the way so that it doesn't adapt or adjust is throwing in some refeed days or some a cheat meal once a week to kind of help your metabolism and just also help you mentally so that you're not in the cut all the time, right? Because when we're in that deficit, when we're losing weight, we're still going to focus on training 3 to 5 times a week in some capacity. Understand that since we're eating less right now, our numbers might be on the decline. It might be harder in the gym. Our energy might suffer, our mood might suffer, libido, right? Like all these things because we're eating less food. All right. And that's okay. And that's part of the process. So check your ego. If you go into the gym and you're in this fat loss phase, check your ego at the door because the weights are going to feel heavier, right? You don't have enough fuel coming in compared to when we were doing that build phase. Okay. So you're training, still training 3 to 5 times a week. Maybe instead of focusing on absolute strength here, right, we're focusing more on hypertrophy, more time under tension, more tempo lifts. Maybe you're working more on mobility, so getting into like deeper squatting, things like that, so that when you do the next phase, right, you've worked on some things while also supporting the fat loss phase, and that being the main focus. Okay, so months 5 through 6, maybe even 5 through 7. Right, there we go. Let's focus. We're eating in that deficit 15 to 20% here. We're doing this for 8 to 12 weeks. You're still training 3 to 5 times a week. And yeah, you're still moving along, chugging along, doing the damn thing. Like I said earlier, I would incorporate one kind of refeed day or a reverse diet day. Not reverse diet, refeed day or a, what's it called? Oh my God, I'm blanking out. Cheat meal. There we go. And then the next phase would be this. Sorry, I have to run into the other room, but back to our scheduled program is following that accelerate or that fat loss phase. I would do what I call a keep phase or a rebuild, right? Or a reverse diet where you keep the results that you created through those first two phases, right? Leaning on your foundation that you've developed through those first two phases. But now months 7, 8, 9, and 10, you would slowly increase your calories on a week to week basis, right? So you were in that deficit. Now you want to start to increase your calories after that deficit. It's the summer by now, right? It's if you're in month 7, you're in July. So you have July, August to really enjoy yourself, indulge, go out, celebrate the results of your energy, your effort here. And then as you head into the fall, right, you can through those first 2 months and then into the fall, we are slowly building up our calories back to maintenance, which means more food coming in. Again, so that means you can have a bit more leeway and play around with your calories here through those ending summer months and then the start of the fall. So what that would look like is once your fat loss phase ends, you're cut, you slowly start to build your calories up on a week to week basis. After each week, eventually you get back to your maintenance calories. You want to hold that for something like a month or 2 months or 3 months, however you want. Stay at maintenance and continue to train. Train 3 to 5 times a week, focusing on, again, that progressive type of overload, that resistance training. Now you have more food coming in, you can start to push the weights again. You can kind of rebuild and get back to some of those previous numbers and potentially exceed those, set some new personal records, some new PRs or PBs, as we like to call them, right? So that's looking like months 7 through 10 here. And then we got November, December, right? Months 11 and 12. And you kind of can leave it up to you here on which route you want to go, okay? You can do another mini cut. You can do another cut, right? So this would probably be a bit shorter since we're in November, December, months 11 and 12. It can be a mini cut. Maybe you're one of those months you do a 4-week mini cut and then bring you back out to maintenance to close out the year so that you're not cutting through December, like the holiday season where it's a little bit kind of crazy with food, drink, holiday parties, like what we're probably experiencing right now. I don't think I would want to go through a cut during this time. So maybe you do a mini cut so you wrap up that third phase in October, and then November you do a mini cut, and then in December you reverse and bring back to maintenance. You could also just hang out in maintenance all the way through the end of the year and just continue to focus on eating, establishing and hammering home the consistency with your eating habits. Your body's gonna love that the food's coming in, and so you're gonna respond well in the gym and feel good. Most likely overall mood will get better, right? In that deficit, you're very moody. Most likely your hormonal panel might be a little bit out of whack, but you're eating now, so that gets a little bit better. Sleep improves, libido's there. That's everything. When you start eating more with the combination and that synergy with your training, you're just gonna feel great. So that's something you could do, right? So we said months 7, 8, and 10, 8, 9, 10. You do that keep phase, right? Where you get back to maintenance calories and hold that. And then if you want, you can just continue this through the year, through the holiday season. Or what you could do, so we talked about the cut. right? That mini cut, that 4-week mini cut. See if I can get this to focus. There we go. Talked about that 4-week mini cut. We talked about maintenance. You could also do a build. You can go back to what we originally did, where you're eating in a slight surplus of something like 10, 15% here, nice and slow with the increase in calories, which would allow for you to, in November, December, kind of indulge a bit more because you have more calories to play with. So you can eat through the holidays and not feel like you're cheating or letting yourself down, because at that time you're eating in that surplus. So you're eating enough while you're also resistance training. And what you're going to feel is, because you're eating more and enough, there's more nutrients, you're just going to have very good energy levels and overall feel good and happy in your body. Just to kind of wrap this up, is understanding that trying to have it all at the same time isn't the right way to go about it. That's why I like to have phases built out, looking at the year like mapping out the year and having phases here so that you can attack that and feel good about that, and then the next phase bounces off that, right? It's all flowing accordingly. Okay, so each phase has its importance, right? You start with the build, you focus on building muscle, building strength, building confidence, eating enough to support your energy levels and like what you're trying to accomplish. Then after that phase, you go into the cut phase. You've put on this muscle, you've developed this confidence in the gym, this strength. Now let's reveal all that muscle that you put on. So you go into that calorie deficit. Yes, your energy is going to suffer, right? Your sleep, your mood, these kinds of things. But you'll also feel like, oh, look, I'm looking in the mirror, I'm noticing different things. Oh, looking at progress pictures, I'm noticing different things. You're gonna feel happy about the progress that you're creating here, even though those other things maybe don't feel as good. Understand that it's just temporary, because once you finish that out, you go to a rebuild or a keep phase, where you increase the calories back up to maintenance, and then kind of the choice is yours on what you want to do from there. All right. So that's what I would do if I was planning my 2025 roadmap to a better body, to a better health, wellness, fitness. This is exactly what I would do, and what I do when I'm working with a client one-to-one. It's never like a 1 month kind of thing. It's like a 6 month to a 12 month thing at the minimum. So that's how I would greatly suggest you approach 2025. Start with small, consistent action, build that up, and then go from there. Okay, there's a ton of resources online. I didn't get into like the nitty gritty on numbers and things like that. I could definitely do that in a different video. But for now, that's how I would lay it out. All right, that's Wodmas. We talked a bit about the roadmap to a better body in 2025, and that's that. So Coach Andrew, peace and out.